What you think about when you're born into a fire. Let them burn it out. Sell them to the richest buyer. They wanna let the world decay. They tell us lies and fade away, fade away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. Listen up now, because we're never dropping out. Beat the odds, beat the big house. The brains are bigger than the doubt. We've been thinking for a second. Never let the truth fade away. This is bigger than ourselves. We won't let the world burn away, burn away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. To blame, haters face the world's mistakes. Wake at the back of the pack,
What's up?
Hey daddies, it's me, the Linda Binda from TikTok. I wanted to make this video because I wanted to thank you for watching Cold Beer Confessionals with Will Bird. I think that's just incredible. I've watched a few episodes and I'm just like very intrigued. But you know what I'm most intrigued in is Big Daddy's meat stick. I heard that it's very thick, like a good old German sausage. You know, Linda and her coochie loves that. Oh, never mind. Let's not go there. Anyways, I hope you have a good show and enjoy it as you can. There's a lot of weird things that go on, especially when it comes from the realm of Linda Bindaland. So, enjoy the show. Thanks for watching. Peace out.
Welcome, everybody. I'm Will Bird. This is Cold Beer Confessional. Thank you for joining us. What's happening? So, there is some crazy drama going on over on TikTok. So we were talking last night about Austin Foreman, right? The pallets full of the pallets full of ballots guy, and his community breakdown and how it's kind of falling apart, and all these people are going back and forth and doing their like people are leaving, some people are calling him out, some people are staying with his general, whatever that might be. Well, then it came out that so Austin is this very uber patriotic guy, right? He wears like an American flag cape. It was probably Rob Knorr. He's the last person who rated me, but it was right at the end of my stream. Anyways, it is this he's like this uber patriot. He wears an American flag. He's like this, anybody on the left, he comes out and attacks and corrects and whatever, does his thing. So he's like this super patriot. Well, then it comes out that he tried to join the military at one point and allegedly, I don't know, I haven't seen the documents from it, allegedly got charged with desertion. And that's how he got his discharge from the military. So there was a video that came out today. Let me see if I can find it. There was a video that came out today. So people have been saying that he has a dishonorable discharge. What's that guy's name? Hold on. Give me just a second. There are people claiming that he has a dishonorable discharge for his desertion, right? And I don't know if that's true. Who is this a stitch with? John Paul King. And I think it's a backup. Hold on. Let me make sure. John Paul King backup. This page. All right, so this was one of his guys, right? They were together. They did their things together. They made video. I wouldn't say they were. Maybe shouldn't say they were together. They definitely supported each other and backed each other up a lot of times, but they also had disagreements. So there was one time Austin was and his group were or were not attacking someone, and this guy disagreed or agreed or whatever. Right? They had disagreements, but they were the same side, and now it's kind of imploding. So let me see. Somebody probably gifted a sub. All right, so this is the video that comes out today for Austin from John Paul King about Austin Foreman. Oh, you're not subs. You're just following. Oh, let me get audio going. Hold on.
So while I was fighting to make sure Donald Trump became elected president of this country and arguing with every Tom, Dick, and Harry around this country, I thought I was associating with people who could vote and who would vote. Austin, let me ask you this. I'm gonna just put this out there. Just answer my question, boy. Can you vote since you're dishonorably discharged from the Army? Can you vote or even have a firearm?
And I don't think he would, from what I heard, at least the rumor mill, is he joined the Marine Corps and got desertion.
people keep coming to my inbox saying, you know, John, all the flag stuff and he's a patriot and all this bullshit was under false pretense this whole year. So you telling me that I was engaged with a person who doesn't even have the ability to vote, no less than a felon? At least a felon can get back their voting rights. Is this true? Say it ain't so.
I honestly could really fucking care less about any of this. I just like the drama and how it's fucking imploding on each other.
Now it's time for you to start answering questions. Everybody else has to answer questions when you speak. You tell them, yo, reply to my message. Did you even vote this year? Did you help elect Donald Trump? You know, you kept bringing up, would Trump be happy with this? I'm starting to see what type of patriot you actually were. Huh.
So he basically calls him out. Well, then Austin responds, right? And says he doesn't have a dishonorable discharge, which could be, there's several discharges. Most people know honorable and dishonorable, but there's general under honorable conditions. There's other than honorable. Those are both, that's at least 4. There's medical, so that's 5. But yeah, so Austin responds to that exact video.
JPK, you know what I love about you, buddy. You always jump the gun. Way too soon. You don't wait for facts. You're doing something called rage farming with words like dishonorable discharge. And I've let you guys say those words over and over again the past few days. But nobody's come with any receipts. You want to know why, JPK? Because those receipts don't exist. Because I didn't get a dishonorable discharge. Matter of fact, I had to look up whether or not people with those discharges can vote. And it turns out they can't. Isn't it amazing to see how far you guys will run with a rumor when I don't immediately address it? Damn, John Paul. Seems like you have a habit of jumping the gun on people, doesn't it? So here's the deal. I'm going to enjoy my family tonight. It's a family member's birthday, and we're going to sit around the fire and have a good time. That gives you all a grace period. You can sit in your lives. You can say whatever you want for the rest of the night. You might want to get it all out of your system, though, because tomorrow is when I go back to being everybody's dad. Tomorrow, I'm going to take the mess that each and every one of you have made, and I'm going to clean it up one by one. And listen, it's not my fault that you took my silence for weakness. I've been watching, so don't get mad at me after tomorrow. You made your bed. I tried to warn you. Now you're going to have to lay in it. Oh, and by the way, the easiest way for you to see if I was dishonorably discharged would be to go see if I'm registered to vote.
So he says it in his video. He says it in his video, right? The easiest way to see if I have a dishonorable discharge is see if I'm registered to vote.
Oh, and by the way, the easiest way for you to see if I was dishonorably discharged would be to go see if I'm registered to vote. That's all you had to do. JPK.
Go see if I'm registered to vote. That's all you had to do. So I did that. I was like, hey, this is interesting. I like this drama. Let me go see if this uber Trump supporter, super patriot guy who writes songs about pallets full of ballots is registered to vote. And I know from following him before and his criminal history or whatever it was thrown out, but he does have some charges against him that were thrown out, that he lives in Florida. So I decided to go check his Florida voter registration. And when I get to it, it says inactive. I don't know if you can see that. It says inactive. Voter status, inactive. He's registered Republican. Date of registration was in 2016. He is inactive. Which is interesting because he told me to go check it, and then I go see he's inactive. So I look up through Florida, like, how do you get an inactive voter registration? That means that you definitely didn't vote in 2020. You definitely didn't vote in 2022. Then they mail you something to your voter registration address, whatever address you claim to be living at. And you have 30 days to return it. And if you don't return it, you get made inactive. So how do you become active, right? Well, you could vote in 2020. You could have voted in 2022. You could have voted in 2024. Or you could have returned their little card. Now, some people said in their state, they can just go online and clear it up, but I don't see a button here for that, to like, hey, I am active, or this is my address, or whatever. But that was not in Florida. So this is interesting to say the least. Like if he's inactive, why would he be inactive? Because if it seems like to me, I guess what it's saying is that to me, what it's saying is he didn't vote in 2020. He didn't vote in 2022 because those are requirements to be inactive in Florida. You didn't vote in the last 2 elections. And then on top of that, it seems like to me that this would be an automated system. So if he voted in 2024, you think that it would automatically update. No? I don't think someone has to go through every name on the voter rolls that's inactive in Florida and then check and see if they voted. It seems like if you check a fucking box to vote, it would automatically update it. So what this says to me is he didn't vote in 2020. He didn't vote in 2022. And I don't think he voted in 2024. Even though he's the Uber, everybody's got to vote in Trump. I'm everybody's dad and pallets full of ballots and they're going to try to cheat. Everybody's got to vote. Let me call out the liberals, the crazy socialists. I don't think he voted. Unless he registered in another state all sneaky like. Yeah, I guess. It seems like he still lives in Florida. You could be right though. But I don't think he voted, dude. Interesting. I probably wouldn't have went and looked up his voter registration. But he told me to. Like he laid it out there, right?
How bizarre. The reason that I'm putting myself out here on social media.
That guy's he 3DO.
All right, before I start this, I want you guys to click on the comment that I'm addressing.
So this is more of his falling apart with his general. Like, it seems like if you go read the comments, it seems like his whole. Let me duplicate this. Hold on. It seems like his whole thing is falling apart right now, which is wild. So we go to the comments on this first video where they were asking him if he voted or not. He also sides and defends Mama Ta. I never got into that whole AFF drama, seen that a mile away. Thanks for being real. I was enjoying the AFF until it seemed like high school drama. Austin Foreman was in the Marines, not the Army. I dipped out when there was drama with the older millennial, and then you. Many of us are leaving or have left AFF. That's what he calls his army, his followers, because of the childish drama. I always found it weird that a bunch of randoms thought they were family. He already answered it, said his voting rights are intact. JPK, I like your content, but this is not your fight. I was a AFF follower due to what I thought was love for our country. I just saw an old video he made, and it was so telling who he is. Love your videos, John. Why are people jumping on this train before even knowing? Seriously, I was bummed because I felt the AFF, maybe it was a good thing. Oh, I left the AFF. Maybe it was a good thing. All right, let's see, because there's more updates to this from the John Paul King channel, so let's see.
6 inches.
JPK likes stirring up shit. Can't believe I ever liked that piece of shit. JPK needs his... Oh, this is from their Discord. It looks like. Hold on, let's see. Needs his ass whooped for the shit he stirs up. Everyone wants to be in the middle of... Austin said he was, and him and how he felt. That. Wasn't she banned from going live? I went right in after that. Needs his ass whooped. Look out. Does he have more screenshots? Or is it just this one? He's going to dance in front of it. I don't particularly like this guy either. Like, this is the guy that calls out the welfare queens or whatever. He calls them food stamp welfare something. I don't know what he calls welfare warriors maybe. Okay, that's the only one there.
Y'all ever wondered how much it costs to get in Austin's little Discord group and get all the information you need out of it, even the history of it? You don't know how much it costs? $25. It's very cheap. Not everybody's loyal to you, little boy. You thought you were someone's dad. You're not even your own. Let it sink in, but it costs
What?
let it sink in. But it costs $25, boy. That's all it took to get.
I'm so glad I'm not part of either one of these communities. I just want to see them fucking eat. I like stirring shit. I want to see them eat each other alive. My video I made in response to this, where I checked his voter registration and shit, already has like a couple thousand views on it.
Get all the information I need, and I'm still there, and you don't even know, because this is how unorganized you are. $25. Fairly cheap. I thought it would cost more. $25. All the information I need. Skedaddle. FAFO. I'm Austin. Ain't nobody scared of you.
I don't know why look, I don't know why, other than like his fan base is kind of rabid and doxing and shit. They're pretty bad for that, like doxing and brigading and shit like that. This guy is like he's a human twig. I don't know why anybody would be afraid of him. I guess they don't want all his followers coming to like harass them, but to me that's fucking views, bro. Come on. Hop up in my comments. Like I'll take those views. That's fine. I also went to his page and searched a couple keywords like vote or voted or go vote, shit like that on his Facebook page. I didn't find any information on that whatsoever. Because I was already over there, I had to have his birthday to... Oh, hold on. Look, who would be afraid of this guy? I think he grew the beard because his head's shaped like a fucking pistachio. Terrifying.
What's up, everybody? Gonna let a few people get in here.
Does he remind you of any other country music singer we cover here, folks?
And we'll start talking. Once you get in.
Look, I know I've got a big head, right? Like I only got like 2, maybe 3 like buttons that engage. But I've never seen a head that small. I think he had to trim some of that Velcro.
In here, drop where you're from. I want to know where you're from.
Like, I don't think anybody's scared. Oh, God. I don't know if anybody's scared of him. I get it. I got a big head. But he's definitely got an abnormally small head, I would say. If I had to guess. It's got to be. What else did I search? I searched a bunch of different terms. Oh, my. He's fucking tiny. He's probably vicious. Anyways, back to the video.
Just get out of it. I'm not saying it costs to get in. It costs for me to get in because I'm on someone else's profile, infiltrating to get some information that I was looking for. Now, that's the difference. I never said it costs. I'm not saying it.
And there's still a bunch of comments like, honestly, everyone needs to block Austin and move on. He is only as powerful as the attention he is given. Let this little AFF find out for themselves. On a roll today, let's go. Her looking at you like shit. Here we go again. Haha, loving this for all of us. I watched him for a minute and then the drama got to be out of hand. They just they go after too many people. And there's some other people like that. There's a Tizzy guy. What's the guy that looks like he's Middle Eastern that goes and cancels people and finds them and finds their business and all that shit?
Austin be posting. I just don't give a fuck. Austin, you claim you voted. Look up your voter registration.
Dinesh, yep.
Legal to look up people's voter registration. You know that, right? That's not a right we have. But then again, you do a lot of shit that's not legal. I follow the law. So when I see something that says the contrary, it bothers me. So I did a little something for you, and I want you to do the same thing. It's like you see me do it, you do it. Here's my voter registration.
Yeah, it's not illegal to look up voter registration, especially when someone tells you to go do it.
Republican Party registered voter. Let's see that, buddy. I'll play the little game of cat and mouse. And no one's scared of you, doggy. No one. I just pray for the youth. Pray for the youth. Skedaddle.
Local musician is accused of playing at a bar, getting drunk, and going on a violent...
So here's what it says. This website is intended to be used by a registered voter to determine his or her voter registration or voting status. It is unlawful to knowingly alter another person's voter registration information or to attempt, assist with, or otherwise commit fraud in connection with the right to vote. So you can't change somebody's voter registration. You can't alter. You can't commit fraud with their voter registration. But yeah, he told me to go look it up. It's a public record.
Pray for the youth. Skedaddle.
Local musician is accused of playing
What did that
at a
just say?
bar, getting drunk.
Skedaddle.
Jump. Oh, that's his voter registration.
Local musician is accused...
Why does his says active? His says active right at the bottom. Damn. And Florida. His definitely says active.
Local musician is accused of playing at a bar, getting drunk, and going on a violent rampage, injuring a woman and a child. Escambia County, Florida deputies are charging this man, 27-year-old.
I'm terrified of him. So this is where they claimed he was at a bar. He drank too much. They asked him to leave, or at least what I think is absolutely true, and then what I think is, I don't know. So the story goes, he was at a bar. He had too much to drink. They asked him to leave. When he went to leave, allegedly, a woman came up and had a confrontation with him. She claimed that he assaulted her, and then her kid, for some reason, was also there. So I'm assuming they weren't in the bar. If they were in the bar, it was like a bar restaurant, or maybe they came to pick him up. I don't know. There was a kid there as well that when allegedly he assaulted her, the kid jumped on his back, and he grabbed the kid and threw him down. That was the claim when we went to court. Now, all that ended up getting thrown out, so who knows what actually happened.
Austin Foreman with battery.
So I see everything Austin be posting. I just don't give a fuck. Austin, you claim you voted, look up your voter registration. It's not legal to look.
Did you see it? Did you see it, John? Austin posted the credit. He showed the receipts. What? He showed the receipts. What do you think about it?
What? I didn't see anything except a phone call where two people are arguing. That's all I saw.
No, boy, he made threats to her indirectly. That's against the law.
No, it's not. He didn't threaten her in person and to the person on the thing. And he was being recorded without even knowing it. We've all said things that we don't, when it weren't recorded, right?
No, Dad said that he's a monster. Dad said he's a monster, John.
Well, Austin was arrested. Craig wasn't arrested. I'm confused to why y'all's outrage is about threats to a person indirectly. And I'm also confused that if he said that the girls were 18 and the law enforcement ain't been involved.
We can read through the Schedule F stuff, the executive order and shit.
Why is y'all's fucking business?
But Dad said he's a monster, and I know he's a monster, John. I can believe it. I feel it. Austin's a good man. He's a good man, John.
So Trump implemented the Schedule F stuff in his last year in office, right? It was like in fucking September, October of 2020. So we don't know who it would have affected or what, but if he plans on implementing that as soon as he enters office, it'll have a different effect this go around, except 4 years of it.
Are y'all okay? One of these things is not like the other. But we're gonna keep watching.
Did you see it? Did you see it, John? Austin posted the credit.
He has some of his fucking the people around him. I don't know. Told Axios back during when this 2020 stuff happened that it could apply to as many as 50,000 federal workers, but they said that it wouldn't be necessary to fire that many workers because firing fewer would probably have the desired, and this is a direct quote, the desired behavioral changes. So what that tells me is you're trying to get them to lean a certain way. So I made a video response to this where I just showed his voter registration. And I even went out of my way to like not dox him, right? How do I get to my profile now? They changed the web base. And it's already got over 3,000 views.
Let me ask you this. I'm going to just put this out there. Just answer my question, boy. Can you vote?
Forgive me if I'm wrong. I don't know that Austin got a dishonorable discharge. I haven't kept up with that drama. I know there was a claim of desertion, and that's all I've seen. But Austin said to figure out if he was dishonorably discharged, the easiest way to do that would be to see if he was registered to vote, to check his voter registrations. So I did. The problem with the voter registration is it has him listed in the state of Florida as inactive. The state of Florida says they'll only list you as inactive if you didn't vote in 2020.
By the way, I've got Florida residents saying that this was the first time they had voted in years, and theirs automatically changed. They're literally checking it in the comments, saying, I just checked mine. I didn't vote in 2020 or 2022, and mine went from inactive to active.
20 or 2022. Already. And they mailed you something to your house and you didn't respond within 30 days. And the only way to bring it back active is to vote. You got to vote. So I don't know if you voted in 2024, if they've updated you. It seems like they would be, but you definitely didn't vote in 2020 or 2022, according to the state of Florida website. And you can see that right here.
Let me ask you this. I'm going to just...
So that's kind of interesting, right? Other people are in here saying, if he went AWOL, I'm sure it's other than honorable. I'm a retired combat veteran who investigated military civil crimes. Okay, so that's somebody to follow. Let me iterate. I'm just stating facts that I've personally looked into. I'm in no way getting involved in all this bullshit childish drama. He put his Trump songs out. He should have been listed to vote back in 2022 if he was able to vote in 2022. Here in Florida, I think we have to physically reactivate it, and we can't vote until it's activated. That's not true. Please stop being petty, people. Somebody said hell. So he didn't vote for Trump like he said? Apparently. Maybe I'll be made to eat my words. I had to come out and apologize. And he did vote, and he voted somewhere else. He's registered somewhere else. I don't fucking know, but that's his registration. He told me to look up, and I looked it up, and it says that I don't know what to tell you. And I don't like his, well, I'm taking the night off to spend it with family. So you go, it almost tells me he's coming up with excuses, right? If it's that simple to answer, just be like, I did vote. I am registered. I did vote. I haven't, this type of discharge, and I'll respond to the rest of you guys tomorrow. Wouldn't that make more sense? I don't know. I would like to know more about his desertion. I would love, I'm guessing it probably, so it depends on how far you are along in your career sometimes, like what you're in charge of. If you go AWOL during boot camp, you probably get like other than honorable, right, and a slap on the wrist or whatever. But if you have like a job and a post and you're manning a post and go AWOL, you can end up in like fucking prison and shit. I would love to know somebody that went to boot camp. I'm assuming it probably happened in boot camp. Austin Foreman, USA. That's just so interesting. He joined the Marines and
JPK, you know what I love about you, buddy. You always jump the gun. Way too soon. You don't wait for facts.
So he's got a song called "I'm Voting for a Felon in 2024," and he didn't vote. He's 31. Austin is 31. I don't know how old John Paul King is.
Doing something called rage farming because those seats don't sit around the fire.
So this is like a group that I guess is associated with him. We greenlit you instead. So these are like videos of people that are like going after each other and taking each other down and shit. There's so much drama on TikTok, dude. There's so much drama on TikTok. I want to know how this discharge stuff came out, and I don't see any videos about it. There he is with his American flag. He wears an American flag cape, which is weird. The Trumples get all upset when someone else wears American flag that they don't like and say that it's a disgrace, that you're not supposed to wear it, that you should be flying the flag and retire it and blah, blah, blah. That he wears an American flag cape all the time when he's doing his clapback videos. Like he's some type of fucking Trumplican superhero, which is weird. AFF Cult. That's a cool tag. I have a confession to make before you hear it from someone else. It's not something I'm proud of, but I've always been 100% transparent. Oh, this is just going to be something retarded. Sometimes when I get bored, I type in AFF Cult in the search bar and go hater hunting. So maybe that's what we should be searching. AFF Cult. Austin Foreskin? What? What are we supposed to...
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
So these are people calling out people that are calling out him.
So, once upon a time, John said AFF is not a...
Oh, he's live right now.
All of a sudden, y'all got standards on how a person comes at another person. All he does is go at people.
Right.
He's built for this. Like, what the fuck are we talking about? All he does is go at people. Now all of a sudden, oh, it's too much. It's just drama like high school. Bitch, he been making drama like high school. You know? What up, Tiff? He said he never said.
Let's see what he's got. Has he got any receipts?
Popcorn like everybody else. He got a butthurt on it. Did you know voter registration is public information? No, it's not. Like, y'all have to stop. Like,
it's a cult.
Like, y'all are doxers. Right?
Gotcha.
Y'all are doxers. Y'all dox people. I like your content. Now I'm over it. Salute. Get the fuck out. I don't need you. I don't want you here. You think I'm gonna just stop because, listen, if my girl said, John, it's enough. Then if my girl says, John, it's enough, I'll stop. My girl say, John, that's enough, I stop. That's it. She the only one. If you ain't my girl, I'll go on till I fucking want to. He doxes people, harasses people, uses the internet to hurt people.
But they claim they're doing it for good.
This is your
right. They are attacking the liberals for good.
Fucking kidding me? Fuck out of here, boy. You know what we do to people like him? Do you understand? No, I'm now I need to back up. Now I need to back up. This is a dweeb, right? This dude is not anyone. God, here y'all go. It's Google.
That was just silly.
You go to the website to look up a person's voting record, there's disclaimer on there, right? You think I don't have joy? I just got off of a trip.
The disclaimer says you can't alter it.
He needs to worry about who you want me to block today, whoever you want. Listen, let me show y'all something else, right? So the AFF Army, or whoever they are, right? Are y'all gonna get me this? So someone said they're gonna send me this. Y'all gonna send me this? Is this him? Am I tripping?
Surely that's not him.
This is Os King. This is the guy with the scruffy beard that. This is our king. It's grown men. It's grown men with AFF in their name. Yo, I'm looking at y'all funny now. I looked at y'all funny before. But that's y'all's king? Hold on. No, I'm not done. Yo,
Is that the same Austin Foreman?
So, somebody sent me this. He posted a video. And said, I took it down because I needed to remove something. And it was a video. Nah, they reported you. And there was a violation found and it got removed. Boy, this boy don't stop lying, man. Yo, hold on, one more. I'm actually tired. Just block me, right?
Oh, he paused it. Hold on just a second. I was like, what the fuck just happened? I'm trying to see if that's the same. Is that the same Austin Foreman?
Hold on. Prove shit about Craig tomorrow. If he don't prove shit about Craig tomorrow, I promise you, I will never stop. Go on and block me. Who needs a book?
That's the other book that's listed by him.
Who needs a book? Who needs a book? We're selling books now.
I don't know that's a pretty common name, Austin Foreman, I would think.
I posted a video to assist you. Yo, now we see what. Yo, listen, man. Listen, I refuse to be bullied by a dweeb, right? I refuse. I'm not even built like that. No, I didn't say Craig's not bad. No. I never said that. I haven't, just like y'all, I haven't seen the evidence. And I've always said that. The problem is, what did you get for your $25? Why are y'all so worried about my $25? Why are y'all worried about, AFF members are weird. Like, y'all are some strange characters, right?
I'm looking for like an about the author kind of.
I'm trying to, why does my $25 bother y'all?
Anybody got a Kindle?
Why? Why does my $25 bother y'all so much? Why? Someone.
I think it's free on Kindle.
You want to see in the Discord right now what they're saying about you? Sure. And they let me in. And I gave them $25 for their service. You know what I'm saying? Like, I gave them $25. That's my $25 to give. Why are people so hurt that I gave $25? The person said, hey, I don't like what they're saying in here. They're threatening you. I said, what? No way. Show me.
It was released in 2017.
Information.
And he was a 23-year-old father of two. 2017, 7 years, 30, 31. The age adds up.
Like, what the fuck? There's only two of them I won't ever mention. There's only two members of AFF I will never mention. But the rest of them, you couldn't touch Dodge with a pole. You support a person arrested for, with children, That's who you support. So you can enjoy supporting a arrested man, who had stuff with,
Oh, it is him.
It was a place on TikTok.
It is him.
Don't.
So this seems slimy, dude.
For proving.
So his books are like how to sell anything to anyone, kind of blah, 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 whatever. And here's his LinkedIn that says sales professional expert in areas of influence and persuasion. Through time, I've learned that my passion is to teach others the art of influencing and persuading. I'm fortunate enough to work at an amazing company that gives me that opportunity every day. General Manager at Harris Originals, blessed to work for an amazing company such as Harris for the past 4 years. I've learned the art of influence and persuasion. Because people on social media, when they find out like you're like into this all fucking like the human psyche and persuasion and shit like that, they think that you've used that against them, right? Like they've been manipulated, but that's his picture. He looks like such a fucking tool bag too, man. With those frosted tips, bro. Sorry. That is him. Damn it. I was thinking it was somebody else.
Flip-flops.
I'm just enjoying the drama right now.
I don't have to explain shit to you. I can say you talking to me right now is illegal. The fuck? Yeah. Yo, I don't. When I log into the state site, right? When I log into the state site, there is verbiage on the state's website.
That person sounds like Jammy.
Please do not use for other people's whatever. And it's not verbatim, but it says
Okay, you didn't read the disclaimer.
Do not look up other people's information. That's what it says. On the state's website, it says do not use to look up other people's information, not your own. That's what it says on the website. I steer clear of it. It's right on the website, you dumb motherfuckers. God, y'all are dumb, man. AFF has some of the dumbest people. I'm gonna just be honest with you. Y'all are so that y'all don't even have fucking brains enough to know. You don't even have brains enough to know don't do dumb shit. Why is that so hard for y'all? That's the culture that
This website is intended to be used by a registered voter to determine his or her voter registration and voting status. It's unlawful to knowingly alter
on the website
another person's vote registration,
do not
information, or attempt to assist with or otherwise commit fraud in connection with the right to vote.
put it up on the thing. Is that harmful purposes? Are you fucking kidding me? AFF have my back? For what? You think this man needs to? I need this man to have my back. Let me show you. You think that I need this man to have my back on anything? Come on, man. Yo, listen, man. Listen. I'm gonna tell you one thing, and I'm gonna tell you one thing, right? I don't give a fuck what none of y'all say. I refuse
Here, real quick.
to ever be bullied. Yo, I wouldn't be able to look.
Under Florida law, voter registration information and records are considered public record except for certain information that may appear on a voter registration application or record that will not be publicly disclosed. Please refer to Florida statute section 97.0585. For more information, visit voter information as a public record section of the Florida Division of Ethics website.
Look at myself in the mirror with AFF in their bio. Oh my God. It's grown men on this app with AFF in their bio. That's y'all's king, man.
That's cringe to me. Like I wouldn't let you guys, like even my most dedicated fans, start putting like CBC Dr. Banana or Dr. Banana Cold Beer Crew or some shit. Like that's weird.
As hell. You put up the dude's mugshot and they still don't get it? Come on. You put his mugshot up and they still don't get it?
All right, Florida law says, once filed with few exceptions, all voter registration information is public record, including your name and address, date of birth, party affiliation, phone number, email address, your social security number, your driver's license number, or state identification card, and the source of your voter registration application cannot be released or disclosed to the public under any circumstances and can only be used for voter registration purposes. Your signature can be viewed but not copied. Your voter registration information may not be publicly disclosed or made available provided you are part of a participant of Attorney General's address confidentiality program for victims of domestic violence and stalking, or you submit a written request to each agency that may have your information, such as your address, photo, date of birth. However, you must fall within one of the statutorily designated classes of high-risk professionals. Public information can find its way on the internet, websites, individuals, entities, obtain records, or look them up from the state. Once information is in the public domain, you will need to contact the owner or administration of third-party sites in order to get the information removed. So, no, it's not illegal. I wouldn't want you guys putting, like, CBC so-and-so or...
Him or one and the same.
That's weird.
They're one and the same.
He does look like a tool bag, dude.
I don't care. I mentioned his name. Look, Dodge didn't do shit.
By the way, this mentality that his fans had growing around Austin Foreman was like, nobody can mention him, nobody can call him out, nobody can say his name, he's everybody's dad or whatever, and that anybody that mentions him, we're all coming for you. And he did this. It was like a weird psychological persuasion. So what he would do is he would find people that had posted something fucking stupid, some right-wing stupid jargon, right? And then somebody in the middle or on the left come in and corrected them. Then they would say, they're bullying me. And then his whole swarm of people would come in and protect you. And that built this mentality that you're a family and we protect each other kind of deal. It was really weird. Like I've seen them like a fucking go after people for saying like stupid shit. Like that's not true. You keep believing the fucking brain rot coming from Trump. And they like go after people.
Dodge boy.
For saying that to one of their followers.
Shit. Maybe he didn't. He was arrested for it. Dodge didn't do shit. He was arrested for it. I swear Dodge didn't do shit. That's how they do. No, that's not him. But you can... I have a book for sale. The Sell Anything Mindset from Austin Foreman.
That is weird. He has that book for sure.
Listen, man. It's a lot of stuff in my inbox that eventually will come out. I'm just waiting for him to fuck up. This old tough guy shit, that's coming to an end, boy. That's coming to an end. That's coming to an end. That's coming to an end. That shit, yeah, I seen it. I ain't worried about it. Austin Foreman called me out. The cult is what in the cult is happening? Yeah, there's a book, man. There's a book. You can get the book. The Sell of it. Listen, I don't know, man, but he got this nice little... Listen, man. This y'all's king. Let me show you. Y'all actually think my black ass is worried about this man? Fuck out of here. Oh my God. Oh, you think this man, this
I'm about tired of this, but
I'm worried about that man. Okay. Yo, look, hold on. Here, I'm gonna pin one. Look.
He sung that he was voting for a felon, but he hasn't.
I see it. I see it. Is this sanctioned?
Making fun of them saying, is this a sanctioned attack or whatever they do?
About me.
When they would go after people or mention people, some people would say, is this sanctioned? Like, are we allowed to go after them, run them off the internet?
AFF and that shit no more. Yo, that's y'all's king.
He does kind of look like a fucking tool bag.
Y'all's king.
He wrote, I'm voting for a felon in 2024 and then didn't vote. Imagine going as far to write pallets full of ballots, voting for a felon, all these songs supporting Trump, and then didn't fucking vote.
I did say that. And then once upon a time, there was a point where a man
This is about it being a cult.
was doing some sketchy things. Some people didn't agree with me, some people did. I agree. You should have the ability to stand on what you believe and stick with.
So what happened was this guy that had, I can't remember what, Tony Dodge or something like that. He called out Austin Foreman. Austin Foreman and his followers found up some shit that he had been charged with, like molesting a kid or some shit. It was like some crazy shit, multiple charges about molestation. But it was he wasn't convicted. All right, he was just charged and shit. Now, John Paul King wanted to call him out for those charges against him. Like something happened. You may not have got convicted, but something happened here. I've never been charged with this. Austin Foreman was like, I was in this position before. Remember, they charged me, but I wasn't guilty for that, where he was like fucking fighting outside the bar. So that was their first little falling out. But they both said, we respect each other. We like each other. We're not going after each other. But now that the election's over, everybody's going after everybody.
With that. But when John learned that there was a video that was coming out saying that I was off base, no hate, but I was off base, and that Dodge was a good dude. Craig didn't say, hey, maybe we should tell John then, before we put out this video. They just put the video out, right? I said, oh, there's street code on one side, there's street code on another side. Receipts and all this other bullshit that y'all talk about only seem to apply when it's on your side. Now that something's happening to you, you want receipts to be proven, where I say, you should talk to me man to man before you ever put out a video on someone else, if you're friends. Another video comes out. Now Craig's in the same situation. He's asking, why wasn't I notified before I was excommunicated? Me, on the other hand, I just question why you would make a video defending a man.
That's their general, right? Why was I kicked to the Craig guy?
Who was accused of such heinous things, yet turn around and now attack a man accused of almost the same type of things. It's weird. I have no beef with Austin, AFF, but maybe it is a cult. When you look in it live and hear people say things like, is this sanctioned? What the fuck are y'all talking about? Also, let me ask you this. If you're not a cult, why are y'all doxing people? Why are you putting people's addresses? Why do you have files on people? It's weird. I am not part of AFF. I don't have any beef with Austin. I don't have any beef with Craig. I don't know. But it is strange to me that receipts and things that are good in street culture are being brought to TikTok where we're just supposed to dance and have fun. So that being said, I'm enjoying watching. So once upon a time, John said AFF is not a cult. I did say that. And then once upon a time, there was a point where a man named Dodge was doing some sketchy things. Some people didn't agree with me, some people did. I agree. You should have the ability to stand on what you believe and stick with that. But when John learned that there was a video that was coming out saying that I was off base, no hate, but I was off base, and that Dodge was a good dude. Craig didn't say, hey, maybe we should tell John before we put out this video. They just put the video out, right? I said, oh, there's street code on one side, there's street code on another side. Receipts and all this other.
Sorry, I was making a video response.
Only seem to apply when it's on your side. Now that something's happening to you, you want receipts to be proven, where I say, you should talk to me man to man before you ever put out a video on someone else, if you're friends. Another video comes out. Now Craig's in the same situation. He's asking, why wasn't I notified before I was excommunicated?
God, I love seeing them fall apart like this. I want to know his discharge.
The older I get,
Fuck AFF, nothing but a weird cult. Austin is just creepy.
more I think.
I tell you what, there's a bunch of old drama going on with the AFF movement. I tried to go down that rabbit hole
This from a day ago.
No way, it's too fucking big. But I will say this, General Greg, whatever the hell, my daddy always told me, he said, son, you can't trust anybody who tucks their ears in their baseball cap. I said, well, damn, turns out my daddy's right. And this other old Brittany chick, hell, I ain't saying nothing about her, I'll tell you that, because it looks like she'll just eat your soul. So I'm just going to skip on that. But I got a question. How do you reset your algorithm? Do I need to watch more cooking videos or something like that just to, get rid of all this drama? But now, more than ever, the true AFF family need to get together. We need to just sit there, let my mama cook us some food. We can rent a pavilion somewhere, have a bonfire, sing songs like the classic hit.
I wonder how long.
And his name was...
I wonder how long before someone sends me a message like, you need to take that down. It's illegal to check voter registration data. That's what I'm waiting on. Dude, that video is going to fucking blow up, dude. It's about to hit 4,000 views. Yeah, that's, at least for me. It's going to blow up.
Was Greg. He always stuck his ears inside his baseball cap like this. And we all think that's pretty fucking strange. Just chill out and have a good time. Okay, I want to address this one last thing before I go to bed. And I'm sure you guys can obviously see that
It is weird, and it's older people. It's kind of like Phil's audience. Like Phil's audience who doesn't know how to handle trolls on TikTok have fallen into this guy who claims to like back you up, and when someone comes and calls you out on your stupidity, they all attack them. Right? I don't know. It's fucking weird. It's all older people, and there we go. Thank you. I appreciate it. My instant reminder that I need to take it down. It's weird that these people don't, I don't know. Holy shit. I think that, Dr. J, I think I saw that. So the way to gift subs, so the price went up to gift subs on Android. And iPhone, they're even higher on iPhone. The way to gift subs is through the website on your computer. If you end up gifting a sub through your phone, it's going to cost you more because they have to pay the marketplace, like the App Store or the Play Store. They have to pay fees on that. I think they did a thing about that. Hold on. They had an agreement. You have to use your browser on your phone. They had an agreement. iOS, Android will start at $7.99 on October 1st. The subscription influx only affects Tier 1, including gifted subs, Tier 2, and Tier 3. So the cheapest way to subscribe or gift a sub is through your browser on your phone. Or I guess Amazon Prime's probably the cheapest way, but they're going to charge you extra money because they're paying it to Google and Apple because it's an App Store purchase or whatever. So caught up in politics, but I'm happy to see your family. We're trying. I didn't make a whole lot of videos today about the campground, but we're trying to rebuild and get everything going. We got crazy people out there. We're going to end up being in court over somebody. Yeah. It's intense. Like sex while camping, it's fucking intense. That's right. I said it. Schedule F, executive order. By the authority vested in me as the president of by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, including Section 3301, 3302, and 7511 of Title V of the United States Code, is hereby as follows. Section 1, policy. To effectively carry out the broad array of activities assigned to the executive branch under law, the president and his appointees must rely on men and women in the federal service employed in positions of a confidential, policy-determining, policy-making, or policy-advocating character. Faithful execution of law. So what is Trump's argument? What is Trump's argument? Trump's argument is that he has to be able to trust when he does something when he does something that it'll have to be carried out, right? When he tries to pass a law, when he tries to implement something, when he tries to push something through, that it has to be carried out faithfully or he can't do his job. But what's the argument against it? The argument against it is it's a loyalty test, right? It's a test to see how loyal you are. And we know that Trump in the past has tried to do some pretty fucking shady shit that people had to stand up to him before. Faithful execution of the law requires that the president have appropriate management oversight regarding the selection, this select cadre of professionals. The federal government benefits from career professionals in positions. See, the reason he already gets to pick the top people, right? He already gets to pick the top people, and that should be all. But this Schedule F thing lets him pick everybody and give them a loyalty test. The federal government benefits the federal government benefits from career professionals in positions that are not normally subject to change as a result of a presidential transition, but who discharge significant duties and exercise significant discretion in formulating and implementing executive branch policy and programs under the laws of the United States. The heads of executive departments and agencies and the American people will also entrust these career professionals with non-public information that must be kept confidential. And it's easy to get some of his following behind it. It's easy to get some people behind it because he's saying, oh, with these bureaucrats who haven't done nothing their whole life but work in government, they just want to sit there and make money and retire and fuck up our plans. We want to get them out of there. So it's easy for him to get his supporters behind it. But what you got to realize is most people in those positions care about the country, right? They're just trying to do the best job they fucking can. It's like when the flood happened and everybody was fucking attacking FEMA. Like it was us versus them, and they were like an invading army. They're fucking Americans too. Do you think they like seeing your house fucking destroyed? And obviously not. Could you imagine doing that job? How would you feel if you were doing that job? If you're working for FEMA and you were basically like doing like an adjustment, seeing if somebody's shit was destroyed or not, seeing if they're lying or not, and seeing all the devastation they went through. Would you find some type of joy in being like, nope, no supplies for you, loser? Like, they're just regular fucking Americans, and they probably fucking hate it. But they just have a system they put the shit into, and it spits out a qualified, a not qualified, and an amount. The heads of executive departments and agencies, and the American people also entrust these career professionals with non-public information that must be kept confidential, with the exception of attorneys in the federal service who are appointed pursuant to Schedule A of the accepted service and members of the senior executive service. Appointments to these positions are generally made through the competitive service. Given the importance of the functions they discharge, employees in such positions must display appropriate temperament, acumen, impartiality, and sound judgment. Now, the reason we've never done this before is it sounds good for somebody to go through and make sure they're not like a far right lunatic or a far left lunatic. But who's deciding? Because according to the Trump supporters, I'm fucking far left, right? I'm a socialist and a fucking devil worshiper, and right? And I couldn't be more middle of the road. So who's deciding again? Do we want to give the power to decide how close they are, how they're not, all that shit? I don't know what you're trying. So the state never has a rule. That would be individual cities. The state never has a rule that says you're allowed to live in this, not allowed to live in this. That would be individual cities. So North Carolina didn't change a law and kick people out of campers. A lot of cities have laws where campers are only allowed in certain areas, especially like when you're in when you're like a group of campers or trailer parks, or it all has to do with fucking zoning. McCarthyism, yeah, that's right. The Red Scare. Yeah, when they were calling everybody a fucking communist and trying to kick them out, right? And they were just finger pointing and saying, you're a communist, and they're a communist, and this person's a communist. Due to these extreme requirements, agencies should have a greater degree of appointment flexibility with respect to these employees than is afforded by the existing competition or competitive service process. What's the competitive service process? That's where it's a point system. Let me make sure. When you apply for a federal job, it's a point system. And whoever has the highest points, as long as you're qualified, then there you go. So it's usually a written test, an evaluation, education and experience, an evaluation of any attributes necessary for successful performance in the position that to be filled. And you get points for like being a veteran. That's the reason I know about it. Like if I wanted to join the post office, well, the reason a lot of mailmen are veterans is because you get points, like bonus points, for being a veteran, right? For an honorable service. So that's what we use now, is we do like a testing system, and whoever has a high score, as long as there's nothing that bars you, like you can't pass security clearance or whatever, that's the person who gets the job. Further, effective performance management of employees in confidential policy-determined, policy-making, or policy-advocating positions is of the utmost importance. Unfortunately, the government's current performance management is inadequate, as recognized by the federal workers themselves. For instance, the 2016 Merit Principles Survey reveals that less than a quarter of federal employees believe their agency addresses poor performers effectively. I think that's like when people say, oh, get one of those government jobs, you basically never get fired. Or like teachers with tenure, right? Once you're in, it's hard to get people out. Separating employees who cannot or will not meet required performance standards is important, and it is particularly important with regard to employees in confidential, policy-determined, policy-making, or policy-advocating positions. High performance by such employees can meaningfully enhance agency operations, while poor performance can significantly hinder them. Senior agency officials report that poor performance by career employees in policy-relevant positions has resulted in long delays and substandard quality work for important agency projects, such as drafting and issuing regulations. Pursuant to my authority under Section 3302(1) of Title V, United States Code, I find that the conditions of good administration make necessary an exception to the competitive hiring rules and examinations for career positions in the federal service of a confidential policy-determining, policy-making, or policy-advocating character. These conditions include the need to provide agency heads with additional flexibility to assess prospective appointees without limitations imposed by competitive service selection procedures. So when did Trump come out with this? Did he come out with this because he tried to implement a law and somebody slow-rolled it? No. He came out with this at the time where people were talking about taking away his fucking ability to send a nuke, right? That he was fucking unhinged, that he was trying to change laws and already reporting that the election was stolen before the election even fucking happened, right? When people were standing up. He only came up with this when people started standing up to him saying that's not right. Placing these positions in accepted service will mitigate under limitations on their selection. This action will also give agencies greater ability to use discretion to assess critical qualities in applicants to fill these positions, such as work ethic, judgment, and the ability to meet the particular needs of the agency. These are all qualities individuals should have before wielding the authority inherent in the prospective positions, and agencies should be able to assess candidates without proceeding through complicated and elaborate competitive service process or rating procedures that do not necessarily reflect their particular needs. So when he puts heads in, then they're going to say, well, I'm just going to, even though all these people, let's say 30 people scored higher on the test, this guy's a MAGA guy, so we can put him in. That's crazy. Conditions of a good administration similarly make necessary accepting such positions from the adverse action procedure set forth in Chapter 75 of the Title V. United States Code. Chapter 75 of the Title V, United States Code requires agencies to comply with extensive procedures before taking adverse action against an employee. These requirements can make removing poorly performing employees difficult. Only a quarter of federal supervisors are confident that they could remove a poor performer. Career employees in confidential, policy determining, policy making, and policy advocating positions wield significant influence over government operations and effectiveness. Agencies need the flexibility to expeditiously remove poorly performing employees from the positions without facing extensive delays or litigation. But we've never seen this happen, right? We've never seen like Trump fucking send something down the line that he's in agreement with and people just refuse to enforce it. The only thing we've seen is when he wanted the DOJ to make up that they were investigating allegations of election interference, and they wouldn't, right? They were all, it's a suicide pact. They all decided they were going to quit if he was going to keep pushing that. Agencies need the flexibility to expedition. Oh, I just read that. The phrase normally subject to change as a result of the presidential transition refers to positions whose occupants are, as a matter of practice, expected to resign upon a presidential transition and includes all positions whose appointment requires the assent of the White House Office of Presidential Personnel. These are just definitions. OPM, Office of Personnel Management, shall list positions that it excerpts from the competitive service in schedules A, B, C, D, E, and F. Which schedules shall constitute parts of this rules? Schedule A is positions other than those of confidential or policy determining character for which it is not practicable to examine shall be listed in Schedule A. Schedule B, positions other than those of confidential or policy determining character for which it is not practicable to hold a competitive examination shall be listed in Schedule B. Appointments to these positions shall be subject to such non-competitive examination as may be prescribed by the OPM. Schedule C positions of a confidential and policy determining character normally subject to change as a result of presidential transition shall be listed under Schedule C. Schedule D, positions other than those of confidential policy determining character for which the competitive service requirements make impractical the adequate recruitment of sufficient numbers of students attending qualifying educational institutes or individuals who have recently completed qualifying educational programs. These positions, which are temporarily placed in the accepted service to enable more effective recruitment from all segments of society by using means of recruitment and assessing candidates that diverge from the rules generally applicable to the competitive service, shall be listed in Schedule D. Schedule E are positions of administrative law, judge appointed under 5 U.S.C. 3501. Conditions of good administration warrant that the position of administration law judge be placed in the accepted service, and that the appointment to this position not be subject to the requirements of 5 CRF Part 302, including examination and rating requirements, though each agency shall follow the principle of veteran preference as far as administratively feasible. So there's vet preference. And then Schedule F, positions of a confidential, policy determining, policy making, or policy advocating character not normally subject to change as a result of presidential transition shall be listed in Schedule F. In appointing an individual to a position in Schedule F, each agency shall follow the principle of veteran preferences as far as administratively feasible. Except as required by statute, the civil service rules and regulations shall not apply to removals from positions that are in A, C, D, E, or F, or from positions accepted from the competitive service by statute. That the civil rules and regulations shall apply to removals from positions listed in Schedule B of persons who have competitive status. The director of the Office of Personnel Management shall, 1, adopt such regulations as the director determines may be necessary to implement this under, including as appropriate amendments to rescissions of regulations that are inconsistent with or that would impede the implementation of this order, giving particular attention to 5 CFR Part 212, Subpart D, 5 CFR Part 213, Subparts A through C, and 5 CFR 302.101, and 2, provide guidance on conducting a swift, orderly transition from existing appointment processes to Schedule F processes established by this order. It doesn't seem great. I don't like that people around Trump are saying, well, we wouldn't have to fire that many people. If we just fire a few people, that'll get the behavioral changes we want. What change is that? How do we know you're fostering a good behavioral change? That doesn't make much sense. It does seem like it's going to be a disaster. In October 2020, the Trump administration issued an executive order that would have strict protections from civil servants perceived as disloyal to the president and encourage expressions of allegiance to the president when hiring. This effort is referred to as Schedule F because that was the name of the new employment category that the executive order created. The administration claimed the authority to create Schedule F based on statutory language that exempted certain positions of a confidential policy-determined, policy-making, or policy-advocating character from employment protections. Previous administrations in Congress always understood the language to apply only to a smaller number of positions traditionally filled by political appointees. Because Trump did not remain in office, it is unknown how many federal employees his administration would have swept into Schedule F, or how many would have been fired and replaced. Experts have put the possible numbers in the tens or hundreds of thousands. The Trump official credited with the idea to create Schedule F estimated that it could apply to as many as 50,000 federal workers. Some Trump allies told Axios in an interview it would not be necessary to fire that many workers because firing fewer would produce the desired behavior change we're looking for. Other former Trump officials' comments and actions led one professor who studies public administration to conclude that 50,000 figure is probably a floor rather than a ceiling. Ultimately, the executive order calling for a new Schedule F was not implemented. The Biden administration rescinded it before it could go into effect on April 4th, 2024. The Biden administration finalized a rule that aims to clarify and strengthen existing protections for civil servants and to slow any future effort to undermine those protections. Trump has announced his intention to reissue Schedule F on day one of his next administration. During his first term, government employees were frequent targets of public insults, threats, and retaliation. We've never seen anybody attack those below him like Trump does. Ever. We've never seen a president attack those below him like Trump does. So why the fuck would we trust him with this? Made campaign promises. Okay, it's echoing Trump and other elected officials have advocated for firing every single mid-level bureaucrat and made campaign promises to begin slitting bureaucrats' throats on day one. As scholars at American Enterprise Institute have stated, Trump has made it clear in countless ways that if he were to win the presidency again, he would expect total loyalty from cabinet secretaries down to the most junior agency employees. To assist him, the Heritage Foundation, a prominent conservative policy organization, has organized a coalition of over 100 executive organizations under the banner of Project 2025, an effort to prepare policy and personnel for the next conservative president. The organization's policy agenda advocates for the revival of Schedule F as part of a larger crackdown on the civil service. And the architects of Project 2025 have plainly said that their aim is to bend or break the bureaucracy to the presidential will. That's not how we work. Right? Could you imagine losing your job at McDonald's because you don't like who the CEO is? I understand a president's need to appoint his cabinet. Right? I get that. Just like the CEO of McDonald's probably has his secretary, his assistant, and the rest of the fucking C-suite. But could you imagine your local manager being like, I don't agree with everything that the owner of McDonald's does or what the owner of Walmart does, and then suddenly you're not a bagger anymore? We've already done Russ Vaught. I don't know. He's uber Christian nationalist. He also did something shady when the Biden administration was coming in, and that he fucked around and He was from the office of the budget office, and he wouldn't let Biden people into meetings that they were allowed to be in for the administration or whatever, to like the incoming administration. That was a weird thing that he popped up in the news for a while back. Christian nationalism is fucking terrifying. Like, I don't care if you're a Christian. I don't care if you're a fucking nationalist. But we don't need to bend everybody to be a Christian nationalist. Holman said on DJT Jr.'s podcast that day one would be shock and awe. Or Shaq and awe. Like Shaquille O'Neal and awe. I think that's spelled with a Q, Dr. J. Come on now. Come on now. What are you guys buying for Black Friday? Anything good? I don't know what made me think of that, but I was thinking about it. When did Black Friday start? A month in advance? Our Christmas is going to fucking suck this year. We just have to tell the boys. We'll get them something, but like we don't fucking, our goddamn roads destroyed. We don't have fucking jobs. We don't have nothing, but that's part of it. We had a good one last year. Hell, it looks like we're going to be in court soon. We'll see. Anyways, I'm interested in the Austin Foreman drama. Schedule F is going to be a fucking disaster. There's no way it's not a fucking disaster. Christians cannot sit this one out.
If you're one of the 30 million Christians that are expected not to vote this year, I ask you to watch this video in its entirety. We can't afford to sit this one out. Sitting it out is how we got here. Or worse. Some of you didn't even so much as sit it out. You joined.
Yeah, we already got a date to be there.
The team. You jumped headfirst into the indoctrination over sexualization of our children.
Okay.
Jumped headfirst into celebrating sin on a level I never thought possible from Christians.
We're not exactly putting that out there, but yeah.
For the sake of wanting to appear loving, accepting, and affirming in someone's sin in hopes that eventually they would come around. And instead, what's happened is we have harmed people by not speaking truth into their lives, truth that Jesus was quite clear about. He came for those who knew and know they are sinners, right? People who sat with him, he accepted everybody, but they left changed. We have been like watering down everything because we don't want to appear offensive.
Dude, the Christian nowadays would fucking ban Jesus from the country.
We don't want to hurt people.
He was an immigrant.
Guess what? Jesus came and he brought a sword, and instead
he was a refugee.
Had a butter knife just smacking on.
Jesus didn't bring a sword. Where did Jesus bring a sword?
The butter, hoping that if we smooth it over good enough, people are just going to come around to our side. That's not what happened. Look at.
Are you confusing Jesus and the Three Musketeers?
Where we are. So to sit it out means that you are complicit in baby parts being laid at the altar. You are complicit in the over-sexualization, mutilation, and sterilization of our children. Baby parts being laid at the altar. You are complicit.
Who's laying baby parts on your altar, lady? I'd pick a new church.
In the over-sexualization, mutilation, and sterilization of our children. Complicit in more wars. Complicit in the persecution and prosecution of pro-life, peaceful protesters who are now in jail. Complicit in the
Pro-life, peaceful protesters were arrested for just being pro-life?
DOJ sicking the FBI on Catholic churches to infiltrate.
When I was like indoctrinated in church, it was when I was young or whatever. But we were basically taught like we had to be pro-Israel, right?
Looking for
there was no like There was no one that was like even critical of Israel, right? We had to do everything that we could to protect Israel, the promised land, the fucking all that, right? Like it was hardcore.
Terrorists. To not vote means you support standing against Israel, but somehow Ukraine is like this magical unicorn that needs all of our support. You are voting for, if you don't vote at all, you are voting for more lost children.
Yeah, Austin.
At our border that are now thought to be trafficked, which is also slavery, and I thought we were against that. You're voting for more blasphemy because what Harris has done, what she just did at her rally, that's exactly what she did. And for you to support it, either by voting or not voting against her, what is that?
Oh, let's see who this is. So this is from someone named
If you're one
Shar, and it says, it's spiritual warfare that we're fighting, good versus evil, and we have been tolerant for too long. This world has lost its moral compass. Spiritual warfare, guys.
of the 30 million Christians that are expected not to vote this year, I ask you to watch this video in its entirety.
Sorry, I got to skip back ahead to where we were.
Peaceful protesters who are now in jail, complicit in the DOJ sicking the FBI on Catholic churches to infiltrate, looking for domestic terrorists.
Wait a second. We don't want the FBI looking into the Catholic Church? Isn't that where all the fucking pedophiles come from?
Not vote means you support standing against Israel, but somehow Ukraine is like this magical unicorn that needs all of our support, that are now thought to be what she just did at her rally.
Blasphemy. She's a blasphemer.
That's exactly what she did.
A blasphemer.
That's exactly what you are doing. James 4:4, you are adulterers. If you are friends with the world, you are an enemy to God. At the very least, he acknowledges that he needs the Lord. Go look at one of the videos I just reposted. His language is entirely different than it was 4 years ago, 8 years ago. He's surrounded by Christians. He acknowledges that he needs the Lord. Go, at the very least, he acknowledges that he needs the Lord. Go look at one of the videos I just reposted. His language is entirely different than it was 4 years ago.
Yeah, when they sent him to a Christian thing, he pretends to be Christian.
8 years ago. He's surrounded by Christians. His life was almost taken twice.
I've heard that too. That that either the death was faked, so they could stage a resurrection, or that the death was real and it was probably some of his most devout supporters that like stole the body away and did like a switcheroo to fulfill the prophecy.
That changes a man. And some of you will go back and look and say, okay, it's not real. Him talking about God isn't real. And you're Christians who say that. And the same Christians who say that will listen to Harris at a rally tell people who say Jesus is Lord that they're at the wrong rally and not believe that.
That's not what they were saying. So this was a big thing full of misinformation. So what happened was some pro-Palestinian people were trying to interrupt the rally, right? And she told them, like, dismiss them, basically. Well, that spread on social media, and you couldn't really understand what they were saying. So the right wing picked it up and said, oh, they're saying Jesus is king and Jesus is the Lord, and she's telling them to get out of here. We don't want it. It was just stupid.
You have been deceived. You cannot afford.
I think the most interesting theory is that the apocalyptic, the New Testament, and its apocalyptic meaning, right? For basically every generation has believed it's about them, right? Every generation is like, this is the end time. I used to listen to my mama and my mom talk about the red calf and all this prophecy being fulfilled over in Jerusalem or whatever. And they were terrified about it. At the end, well, I wouldn't say they were terrified. They talked about it all the time. The end times are coming and everything's changing. What a world we live in. But every generation, if you go back and look, every generation, right, thinks it's about them. I think the most interesting theory about this stuff in the New Testament is that And you can even relate the 666. Dan McClellan does a good video on Nero. So Roman Emperor Nero was really bad for Christians. He persecuted a lot of them, had a lot of them locked up. He fucking had a bunch of them killed and shit like this. And he died. But the mentality in the Christian thing, for some reason, they were like super like a conspiracy theory about his death, right? He died and was replaced. But they thought he wasn't dead. They thought like they were hiding him. Like they took him away and he was coming back. And most of the coded language in the New Testament, as it was originally written, was actually about him coming back as the Antichrist. And this was not long after Jesus' death or whatever, but him coming back as the Antichrist and persecuting the Christians and trying to leave them astray, blah, blah. Dan McClellan does a really good video on it. Even like the 666 had something to do with like the Roman coin. Like the coin that he was printed on had like sixes and something about the way his name was written was a 6, and so it was just really good. That it was originally the Bible was written for people in that time. It wasn't made to keep it for 2,000 fucking years and still be saying, oh, it's coming any day now. It was written for people right then, and that's what it mostly applied to.
Word to stay that way. There's no excuse for it, and I have no doubt, because Scripture is clear. When we continue to allow these things to happen, we are held more liable than the people who are doing it. Pick the policy that best preserves life. Pick the policy that is as Christian as it could possibly be in a secular world. Pick the
as Christian as I'm sure Jesus would want you to pick the one that is as Christian as it could be in a secular world.
Candidate who does not mock God.
I love Dan McClellan.
God will not be mocked, and we will reap what we sow. Do you want to be on that side?
I want to see this transformation right here. I probably have to mute the music, but look at this. This is why I have trust issues. Look where we started. Pause, you bitch. This is where we start, okay? Let's see what happens. I want to learn to do makeup like this and like shaping and shit with like colors and shadows, and I want to learn how to do that and do it tomorrow. No eyebrows. Teeth in, teeth out. Jesus Christ, dude. Wow. Wow. They're good at what they do, I guess. They're good at what they do. Let's see if we can find Dan McClellan. Hold on. On Antichrist. He has a really good video on it. It's super interesting to me. I'd like to learn more about it if I had some fucking time. Oh, let's do this. Antichrist. We can add Nero to this. I think that would be in there. Especially if he did subtitles.
Nero was the emperor between 54. Have you ever heard of the Nero?
This is somebody else.
So Emperor Nero was the emperor between 54 and 68 CE of Rome. At least in Christian circles, he's most famous for persecuting the Christians, which happened in 64 CE. The Roman historian Tacitus has Nero feeding Christians to wild animals in the Colosseum, burning them at the stake, and even crucifying. And while the historical evidence that we have locates this persecution only in Rome, there wasn't persecution everywhere else. This persecution was violent and crazy enough that it seared itself into the Christian consciousness at the time. Very basically, Nero was a scary dude. He was the stuff of nightmares. So naturally, when he dies in 68 CE, the memory and the fear of him lives on. Eventually, Christians began to write about Nero coming back from the dead in order to renew his persecution of Christians. Yeah, that's right. They thought that Nero was going to come back from the dead in order to persecute Christians. Apparently, there's a bunch of sources for this. According to one New Testament scholar, it's especially found.
Yeah, I want to hear that. Oh, here, number of the beast, maybe.
It seems like there is still some confusion regarding the number of the beast. In Revelation 13:18, we see that number as 666. And this is what we find in our earliest manuscript witness to this passage. That's Papyrus 47 or P47, which dates to probably the second half of the 3rd century CE. Now, at the end of the 3rd century CE, we have another manuscript, P115, that actually has the number as 616. But it's okay, because both numbers are a reference to the same individual. Because this number is referred to at the end of that passage as the number of his name, which clearly means we're dealing with a numerical encoding of the name of a person using gematria. And gematria is this convention of using the sums of the numerical values of the letters of a word or a name to encode that word or name. And 616 and 666 are two different ways to encode the name Nero Caesar. One is transliterating it into Hebrew from Greek, and the other is transliterating it into Hebrew from Latin. Here is a coin from the
So that seems like,
you'll note that
honestly seems like the only way. That seems like the only way. So the Bible, in 2 different times, says that his number is 666 and 616, right? The number of the Antichrist or the beast or whatever. How many other ones would line up with Nero, right? Like it lines up in Greek and Latin. That's insane.
Of the name of a person using gematria. And gematria is this convention of using the sums of the numerical values of the letters of a word or a name to encode that word or name. And 616 and 666 are two different ways to encode the name Nero Caesar. One is transliterating it into Hebrew from Greek, and the other is transliterating it into Hebrew from Latin. Here is a coin from the reign of Nero Caesar. You'll note that this is a means of buying and selling, and the impression.
He's got such a fat neck, dude. I feel like every time I see like someone playing like a Roman emperor, they're always fit. Not like Spartans, but they're like fit. That he's got a fat neck, dude.
On the coin has Nero's.
He looks like that police officer from last night's video.
As well as Nero's name, and that impression could be referred to in Greek as a mark as well. But you'll see along the left, Nero Kaiser. This is the Latin spelling of the name, and if you transliterate that into Hebrew characters, you get Nero Kaiser, and that, using gematria, adds up to 616. Here is another coin from Nero's reign. The inscription here, however, is not in Latin, it is in Greek. And to transliterate the name Nero Kaiser into Greek gives us Neron Kaiser with a nu on the end. Now you transliterate that into Hebrew, and then you get Neron Kaiser with a nun on the end of the first name. And in Hebrew, the nun has a numerical value of 50. So if we transliterate this into Hebrew and then add up the numerical values of the characters, we get 666. The only two numbers that have any real argument to make for being original to Revelation 13:18 are 666 and 616. 666, most scholars agree, is probably original. 616 probably popped up in an area where Latin was a lot more common. So this is a reference to Nero.
This was just them encoding their fears that Nero would come back to persecute them again, which I'm sure they were terrified, right? Could you imagine living back in that time and you don't know how anything fucking works? You think it's all from God and this God's angry and that God, and there's fucking no science, there's no internet, there's no way to look anything up. I would be terrified of the guy coming back if he was persecuting everybody that I knew and believed the same as me.
Nero Caesar was the second beast from Revelation 13 and 14, and this is not a prophecy about the future. This is an exhortation to Christians to keep themselves unspotted from the stains of the evil empire and to remain faithful in the face of persecution, whether real or imagined. Hey everybody, it seems like there is...
It's pretty interesting, I think. What's this one?
Hey everybody, after my video yesterday on Genesis 19, I predictably had a number of people retorting, yeah, but what about Leviticus 18 and 20? And I have three concerns.
Oh, I think we've watched this one.
Is that my video pretty clearly and explicitly argued that
we just watched that one the other day.
Archaeological evidence for the existence of a historical Jesus. But the notion that means that there likely never was a historical Jesus.
You guys remember the Shroud of Turin was a big thing? Like my mom and Mama were like obsessed with that thing. And it turns out it's probably a hoax.
Is wildly uninformed. Hey everybody, I'm Dan McClellan. I'm a scholar of the Bible and religion, and we don't have direct archaeological evidence for more than 99.9% of the people who lived in Judea during the 1st century CE.
I love Dan McClellan.
And the powerful people. Not only was this not a time and place that is crawling with historians who are documenting things, but the accident of preservation just means that we don't have direct archaeological evidence for the overwhelming majority of all people from the ancient world. It is rare that we find direct archaeological evidence of an identifiable figure. We didn't even find direct archaeological evidence of the existence of Pilate until 1961, and he was the procurator of all of Judea for 10 years. The overwhelming academic consensus is that there was
no evidence of Pilate, right? Of Pilate. And he was the guy in charge of all of Judea for 10 years. And all we had was what it said in the Bible, and then finally they found something that related to him. There just isn't evidence of people back then.
was a historical Jesus who was an apocalyptic itinerant preacher who probably preached for about a year before being executed by the Roman state. Now, most of the Jesus tradition accreted to that story in the decades following his death, based on the movement that started up following his death. And a lot of those traditions are based on then contemporary ideals and traditions regarding messianism, regarding deity, regarding apocalypticism. So many of them reflect the features of other figures from that time period. But the argument that there never was any historical Jesus and that this was just made up out of whole cloth based on other deities or other itinerant.
I think that religion does so well because people need it. And I don't, if you believe in a religion, believe in a religion, I don't care. But fuck, I can't sit around and think about, like, I'm 35 years old and like one day it's just all going to fucking end. Like nothing. I could be over halfway there, even from like natural causes, and there's just going to be nothing at the end. That freaks me the fuck out. I don't know how to process that.
Preachers is rejected by the overwhelming majority of scholars across the entire spectrum of belief and non-belief because it requires a number of assumptions. It requires a lot of data be ignored. It requires a lot of squinting at data to make things that are not really related seem like they're more related. If we just look at the data and weigh probabilities, which is really all we can do in the absence of direct archaeological evidence, it is more likely than not that a historical Jesus existed, but we do not have any direct archaeological evidence for the existence of a historical Jesus. There is no direct
actions of the Antichrist.
I adore.
Did those line up with Nero?
Of the Antichrist will parallel one of the most evil men who have ever existed. Just as the Antichrist will persecute Christians for 3.5 years, there was a man in history who also persecuted Christians for 3.5 years. His name was Nero.
And this was almost like an Avengers story, right? Like Nero will persecute Christians for 3.5 years. People will love him and chant his name, and he'll do miracles and blah, blah, blah. But then our Jesus is coming back with all his friends to fuck him up, right? Nero was like Thanos of the biblical world.
Nero was a Roman emperor who was the first king to have massive persecution of Christians. And he didn't just kill Christians, he tortured them. You see, when you study the history of the first Christians, you realize how easy we have it today. In today's world, the very idea of Christians suffering is something we never want to talk about. But the first Christians, they suffered. They died for their faith. Nero threw many of them to lions. Many of them were crucified. Some were even burned at the stake. Nero, he hated Christians, and he made it his personal mission to annihilate them. And in a future video, we will look at many parallels between the Antichrist and the reign of Nero. And we will see how, just as the first Christians were persecuted by Nero, the last Christians will be persecuted by...
So this guy's still oblivious. He's like, oh, well, everything lines up in the Bible with Nero, but they're actually talking about a guy that comes in fucking 2030.
The Antichrist. And there will be parallels between both men. And so when that video comes, let's just say it's going to be eye-opening. But before all of that, before the Antichrist tries to persecute those who won't worship him, something incredible will happen first. The power of God will come. Before the days of darkness come.
I adore Dan McClellan. He is absolutely my favorite biblical scholar.
Let's hear it.
Alive today. I think he and I would probably both like it if you stopped tagging him in my videos because I am not posing as a biblical theologian or a scholar of theology. I am a folklorist. I'm trained in folklore. Major religions do include things like folklore within that religion, which is non-canon, and I am never here to say, did you know the Bible is actually telling you?
Absolutely none of the Bible was written for us today. Hey, everybody.
Oh, here's the one I was looking for. We'll watch this one, then we'll probably wrap it up, guys.
A scholar of the Bible and religion. The fit for this video is Cameo and Spider-Man. And every last syllable of the Bible was written by a human being who was operating within a specific set of social circumstances. And those social circumstances influenced their perspective and their thinking and their rhetorical goals, which were associated with trying to influence those social circumstances. None of that transcends those social circumstances. It's not possible for them to do so, and they were never intended to do so. And what that means is that if we want the Bible to be applicable and authoritative to today, we have to dislodge the texts from those social circumstances that created them, and we have to reorient them to today. We have to negotiate with the text. And in that process, we are the authority. The texts themselves are not the authority. Now, there are dogmas out there today about the text being inspired and inerrant and univocal. And because of those dogmas, the text is thought to transcend those social circumstances and be directly transferable to today. But there are at least 3 problems with that. The first is that we have to reconstruct how we understand those social circumstances and the intentions and goals of the text within those social circumstances. And that is a process that is governed by our own perspectives today. And so if we believe that the text transcends those social circumstances, in the process of reconstructing what we think those texts meant then, we are going to be heavily influenced by what we want them to mean today. Additionally, none of these dogmas are arrived at by a careful interrogation of the data. They're dogmas, which means they are things people just choose to accept, and overwhelmingly so that they can access the power and the resources provided by the social identities that adhere to those dogmas. And finally, those dogmas exist precisely so that people can endow their own socially contingent identity politics with an authority that can be argued to transcend their own social circumstances.
That's a fallacy I guess you get in when you argue with people. First of all, religion and politics should be separate, right? You can be whatever religion you want to, but you're voting for your constituents, not what God told you to do. Second of all, it's hard to argue with these people, right? Because they can just always appeal to God, who knows everything, does everything, sees the future, knows the past, right? He's always been, always will. Like, how can they always appeal? How can you ever argue with anybody that can appeal to God?
Those dogmas. And finally, those dogmas exist precisely so that people can endow their own socially contingent identity politics with an authority that can be argued to transcend their own social circumstances. In other words, it's just a way to arrogate the Bible as a divine proof text for their own socially contingent identity politics. Absolutely none of the Bible was written for us today.
I'm pretty sure that all the apocalyptic shit was about, the more I look into it, the more I think it was all about Nero. They were wigged out that they didn't believe that they had been through so much persecution through that shit. They didn't believe that it was actually over, right? They were traumatized. It was like fucking PTSD. So they wrote stories about how to hide from him, how to make sure you're safe when he comes back, because he is coming back. But don't worry, because right after that, our guy's going to come back and kill him and whatever, and we'll be taken to paradise.
What's the mark of the beast? Hey everybody, I'm Dan McClellan. I'm a scholar of the Bible and religion. I made a number of videos pointing out that the number of the beast, 666, is an encoded reference to Nero, who many Christians and other Romans feared had escaped to the Parthians or would be coming back from the dead or from exile to take back over rule to make Rome great again. But what is this mark? The text states that this is something that people would receive in their hand or in their forehead. And without the mark, they would not be able to buy or sell, so participate in commerce. There are actually a few different concepts that are converging in this imagery. The first has to do with something that we see elsewhere in Revelation as well as in the Hebrew Bible, this idea that a deity will either put a seal or their name upon the forehead of their followers. And this indicates belonging to the community, it indicates loyalty to the deity, and it indicates that they are under the deity's protection. And one place we see this is Ezekiel 9, where God has somebody go through and put a mark on the foreheads of everyone.
I think it's weird that how many people can use God as a source, but then also look at the things Trump says and does and be like, oh yeah, he's a Christian.
Of their followers. And this indicates belonging to the community, it indicates loyalty to the deity, and it indicates that they are under the deity's protection. And one place we see this is Ezekiel 9.
I wonder if that could relate to a hat you put on with a red hat with white letters.
God has somebody go through and put a mark on the foreheads of everyone in Jerusalem who is outraged by the abominations being committed. And then God sends executioners in to kill everyone, man, woman, or child, who does not have the mark on their forehead. Now, we also have this idea of the priestly class having God's name on the headdress that they wear. So we have two different ideas associated with God that are converging. The idea of a seal on the forehead, the idea of God's name on the forehead, and then the beast is counterfeiting this, is copying this. So the idea is the people who have the mark of the beast are the people who are loyal to the beast, the people who belong to the beast's community, the people who are under the protection of the beast, which will ultimately fail because God will punish them. Now, the idea of the hand and the forehead is something that we only see in a few places in the Bible, and that is where we have this command.
I agree with you. I can't.
Absolutely.
Oh shit.
I
can't do fucking Trump right now.
On the headdress that they wear. So we have two different ideas associated with God that are converging. The idea of a seal on the forehead, the idea of God's name on the forehead, and then the beast is counterfeiting this, is copying this. So the idea is the people who have the mark of the beast are the people who are loyal to the beast, the people who belong to the beast's community, the people who are under the protection of the beast, which will ultimately fail because God will punish them. Now, the idea of the hand and the forehead is something that we only see in a few places in the Bible, and that is where we have this command for God's laws to be on the forehead and on the hand of the people. So as a reminder, as a memorial, and as a sign of their dedication. And this would later result in the practice of using phylacteries with little texts that were rolled up and put inside these boxes that would be strapped to the forehead, and then the strap would actually go down and end at the left hand. And so we may have also this idea of kind of ritual dedication to the beast reflected in this idea of the mark being in the right hand as well as on the forehead. So a counterfeit concept of phylacteries or ritual dedication to God. And we probably also have the idea of Roman coinage.
Opium. There you go.
The coins had not only the face of the beast, but also the name of the beast on them, and they would
A coin in an impression was also referred to as a mark.
Generally be transferred using.
That's where marks come from.
And so you can't buy or sell without Roman coins within the Roman Empire. And so this probably wasn't saying anyone who uses.
You're right, Chris. Right, they couldn't write openly. That's why they for generations and generations use gematria or whatever.
Roman coinage is taking the
just this part. We were covering other shit, but we were just talking about. I don't know how we got on this. We always fall down some rabbit hole.
Mark of the beast, but it was probably intended as a constant reminder of the proximity of Christians to the beast, to the evil, wicked empire. Rome is represented as the first beast. Nero is the second beast. The dragon that oversees the beasts and gives authority to them is Satan. So the name, the number, and the mark of the beast are all imagery that is associated with the relationship of Rome to Christianity in the late 1st century CE, and it is a way to exhort Christians to.
I think Mr. Beast is the beast.
Remain faithful in the face of the threat of persecution from Rome, and it does not extend beyond that context. It is not in any way, shape, or.
I think we're using Christianity to justify their voting habits or whatever. I think that's how we got here.
Whatsoever, a prophecy about anything that is going on today or that will go on in the future. It is entirely limited to Christianity within the late 1st century CE.
Anyways, check out Dan McClellan. He's pretty good. So he's basically a religious scholar. That's what he's done his whole life. I think he was like with the fucking Mormons, and he was like a translator and a scholar, and he's been to college. Dan McClellan seems like he knows what he's talking about. I guess I can't really vouch for him, but I enjoy his content. He seems to be well-versed in what he's talking about. And if something's confusion, he'll go back to the original fucking text and retranslate it. And talk about how there's mistranslations and different translations go back and forth and blah, blah, blah. It was that brown-haired woman. Where'd she go? Oh, there she is. Anyways, guys, thank you for joining us. Thanks for being here. It's almost 2 a.m. I got to get home. Ride to One Wheeling tonight. The good news is that it has gotten a little bit warmer. It was up in the 60s today, and tomorrow it'll be 65. So hopefully I can get back in, and we'll get there. So what you will about Trump, but it was an evil genius move to appeal to Christians with zero morals. True. Have you heard RFK's comments on Trump that he had to apologize for? Where he's talking about how he's getting these flesh dominoes that are just idiots and making them angry, and that was a fucking genius way to win. Anyways, TikTok drama today. Thank you guys for joining us. Thanks for being here. I'll be back probably tomorrow. Yeah, I'll be here, I guess. We'll see. I'll keep you guys updated. Follow my TikTok if you want updates on rebuilding the campground after the flood. Yeah, thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you about the next one. Have a good night, guys. Love you. See you. Bye.
But I can tell you this about if this douchebag happens to see this particular show, you don't have the forking balls to call out the people on this planet by name and tell them exactly who they are and tell them the rest of the world who they are. You don't have the forking balls. You don't have the balls.
Scott McKay, everybody.
Hey, Scott. Here we go. I think I started some shit. Listen off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best. You know that stage is set. You better buckle up.
I'm not ready for winter, dude. We still not
I think I started some shit.
we still don't have a fucking road, dude. So I'm riding the one wheel in and out. From the hurricane destruction and shit. I still got a lot of work to do. The campground's definitely not going to be open till spring, summer of next year, but we still got shit to do. We got one snow a couple of days ago.
Worshiping drums, cocking, begging for a throat deposit, swinging fucking meat hammers like fool in a thong. He's strapped to the shaft, eating his chest like he's King Kong. Starving for attention, I'ma make your gut burst. I'll be your huckleberry, I can quench that thirst. Baby eating lizard people, alien sex. What's next? Trump in a dress, fucking Flynn on his desk. A retard in a vest, climbing up 5G towers. Cause you told him if he did, he'd get fucking superpowers. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. I used to find clues too when I was high on shrooms. I found myself a tunnel that led to Jason Q's bedroom. Open his closet, I found some of his meat rockets. I strapped it to my shoes and then I flew through the roof. I found myself in orbit strapped to an F-16. High on amphetamine, with Trump in between. Put on a light coat of baby oil and saluted the troops. He tapped me on the shoulder and said,
Oh, I'm in Tennessee, but we've already got a little bit of snow as well too.
"What? I'll get my files." Wait, what are you doing? Stop. Fucking stop, dude. Come on, seriously. My mom's an alcoholic. Oh, give me a. Oh my god, damn it.
Have a good night, guys.
Started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place.
Oh, I see you doing the Quarry. The Quarry's an awesome game. I played it a while back.
Cause you ain't seen none yet. Round 3. Down goes Nino. Please say it isn't so. Got him backed up on the ropes, trying to ram it down his throat.